Hi, anyone who takes the risk and jumps into the jam-packed world of entrepreneurship wants to survive. That's the number one outcome. But what if your business is failing, that you're not generating enough revenue and not bringing enough cash flow, and you start wondering how long you could sustain this? In this video, I'm going to share a few tips on how to turn around a struggling business to a point where it is generating profits again. And the first thing is effort. Everything begins with you. Even before I dwell on the technical tips to help you turn around your business, nothing can work if you don't put maximum effort in running your business. When you start a business, you can never be in a vacuum, unless of course you're extremely lucky. And if there's going to be competition, that means somebody else knows that business as well as you do. And if you walk into a competitive environment and they know more about the business and the customers more than you do, then you will lose. You've got to put in the effort to learn more about your industry than somebody else. Remember that no business succeeds overnight, and on the other hand, no business fails overnight. Therefore, it could be you as the leader who is failing, and that's why focus on effort is key. The second thing is to know the numbers. You need to build some financial literacy into understanding the running of a business. Get all the information, get all your lines of credit card transactions, get your bank account, get all the expenses, get all the numbers, your income statement, how much tax you owe, how much the payroll for your staff is. Have all your liabilities at your fingertips. Get the real numbers, not what you think it is, because by not looking at it, it could be much worse than you think. The third thing you can do is to cut expenses when your business is failing or struggling. You need to squeeze every dime of profit that you could because you need cash. Businesses mainly go out of business because they run out of cash. As long as you have cash coming in, you're meeting the payroll and paying all the overheads, then you're probably okay and it buys you time. So think about all the expenses you have. What are the things you could cut? Do you really need that for now? Can you sell some stuff to generate some more cash? Focus on cutting unnecessary expenses, especially those that are recurring. And here I'm talking about those expenses that come as a monthly or quarterly charge, for example. Do you really need these things? Do those things bring more money into your business? If not, you should definitely consider cutting them. And when talking about cutting expenses, there might come a time when you'll have to have some uncomfortable conversations. This is especially when you have to lay off some of your staff. So always be ready for the worst case scenario. When you do layoffs in your business, you can't do surface level expense cutting. The reality is if you've got to lay somebody off, it means you're not obliged to pay them past that point because you have a business to save. And these are people you care about, and you may find it hard to let them go. But the truth is, if you're at this position, the decision is already made for you. If you logistically look at your numbers and every month you're losing lots of money in revenue, if you do not take some measures, then you're probably giving up your business. You're putting your family's lifestyle at risk. And that to me should be enough for you to make those tough decisions. Try and take the emotions out of it. On another level, if you feel so bad about laying people off, then you may actually consider serving them by trying to find them jobs elsewhere if you have the capacity. I remember during the really bad lockdowns here in Australia, some airlines like Qantas linked their staff with jobs with other organizations. So if this is something you can do, then definitely do it. Another thing you need to do is to build backup. Once you get your top level revenues in check, you've reduced your expenses and cut them deep, and you've put a plan together and started paying those debts, and you're now focusing on being profitable again, sit down and reflect on the lessons you've learned. Because at the end of the day, if you don't sit down and reflect and do a post-mortem, then you're very likely going to make the same mistakes again. What caused you to get into this position? Likely it's because you took your eyes off the financials. Probably you did not look at your cost structure. Maybe you thought that you're doing great on revenue, but you were not being profitable. Perhaps you did not hire the right people, and you may not have had the right advisors in position to help advise you. And how did you end up deciding who was the right person? So now, how do you change that decision and approach so that you don't end up having another person just like them? You could invest in professional advice, because having the right advisors will be able to guide you. So in essence, do more of the things that you've learned that work. Is it repricing? Is it ensuring that you have the right working structure? Is it going after the market and doing some marketing? Do you need to stay consistent and stay on course? Ask yourself, am I doing everything to attract clients? Am I doing everything to sustain and keep my clients, to have them come back for my products? Am I doing everything that I'm supposed to do? If the answer is yes, then it's just a matter of time before you pick up. So as I said, be consistent with what you're doing right. We all hope to achieve success overnight, but when you talk to most entrepreneurs or people who are self-employed, most, if not all of them, will tell you it was never overnight success. They knew that it was going to be a slow start, and then it grew from one step to the next, to a point where they had to hire more employees or hire a team or even start outsourcing different areas. So if you find yourself panicking because your business has not picked up as fast as you would want, then show up every day, be consistent, and make sure your product or service is quality. Whatever it is, building a backup is the next step to turn your business around. I will emphasize on starting to find and concentrating on a loyal fan base, people that are going to get excited about your product and come back to you. And this is where you start solving the scarcity mindset problem. For an in-depth look at how to get your potential clients excited about your products for your startup or struggling business, watch my video tips on validating a business idea, which can be found on the link above. All we need is one person to think that your product is good or great, and by word of mouth, they will tell one person or other people about your product or services, and you will certainly start having referrals. If you're providing quality products or quality services, it doesn't matter how overcrowded you think the market is. The market is never overcrowded once you set your sight on revamping your business. The bottom line is, if you have a set number of true fans and they support you till the end, if they're buying your products or services, then you can still make a very good living. If you have a set number of clients that you engage with constantly, and I'm not talking about over engaged, just engaged, and they're solid, they're constant, you can maintain your business and your lifestyle. You can continue climbing the ladder when it's time, and then you can rehire people, and you can even start expanding. So what you need is a solid base to be successful. For anyone out there who wants to be an entrepreneur, and anyone who perhaps their business is struggling, there are two things you should focus on. One is the front end and the other one is the back end. These are the customers. On the other hand, the back ends includes, among others, systems, support, and what every entrepreneur calls efficiency. Many are the times when a lot of people come through and say that I'm going to try to find a way to become more efficient on the back end. I'm going to try to make it better. My systems will, say, be better than somebody else's, maybe your competition, thinking that's the reason they're going to survive as an entrepreneur. But they don't realize that thinking of efficiency is not relevant if you don't have people who are buying your product or services. You can do whatever you want to find shortcuts, but it doesn't really matter at this time. I'd like you to think about it this way. What is the first thing a coach teaches a kid when they go for tennis practice? It's how to hit with a racket. What's the first thing you learn when you're playing basketball? It's how to shoot. What's the first thing you learn when you want to play soccer? I'd like to imagine it's how to kick. So those three things I've mentioned are are they front end or back end? That's front end, of course. So from there, then you learn the system. You learn the rules of the game. You learn the timeouts, the 2-pointers, the 3-pointers, the penalties, duration of the game, etc. But the first thing is the front end. Front end is what keeps you up on your feet. The sooner you can graduate this survival mode, the sooner you're able to scale your business. So let's talk a little bit about what it is to focus on the front end. So on the front end, you have the customers. And there are two kinds of customers that you should worry about as an entrepreneur. One is the potential customer. The other one is the existing customer. Potential customers are people that you keep adding to your list of names. List of names of people that could buy your products, people that you probably want to sit with or to coach, and you want your list to constantly be growing. You keep adding names to this list and earn yourself a beautiful database of potential customers. But the biggest mistake sometimes we make, which I've made before, is not having the clue on how to treat your existing customers. So what do you do with your existing customers? One of them is to maintain. The second one is getting referrals from them. And the third one is upselling. Consider this. Amazon upsells us all the time. eBay upsells us all the time. And what they do is, okay, so Amazon says, if you share this link, we'll give you this. Give us a referral and we'll have this for you, 50% off. Elsewhere, you'll hear that if you share this bank account and have somebody else open, we'll give you $100. If you get somebody to open up a membership, we'll give you 1 month free, for example. So this is all learning how to get referrals from existing customers, which is a win-win situation. The reason being, by getting referrals from your existing customers and upselling, you will be engaging them and getting them closer to you, offering them better services, and at the same time, you get to expand your business by acquiring new customers. One of the most effective ways to maintain your customers is by constantly being in touch with them. Let them feel they're part of your brand. This is a topic that I've delved deeper in my previous video, how to build and grow your personal brand. The link is up there, and also using video to grow your business. You can watch them by clicking on the links above. So you as an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're in fashion, pharmaceuticals, writing, insurance, name them. You do need to focus on the front end. There's no business that survives without front end customers. Everybody has some sort of, let me call it subscribership, some sort of user base. Facebook has users, Instagram has users, Amazon now has many Prime members, eBay has how many people selling, how many people are buying on that platform. So every business has their kind of user base. So this, and I'm talking about front end, is what makes business. Another example, Amazon have the best profitability they've had in the history of their company. Success of the front end is the reason they're trying to become more efficient on the back end, trying to make deliveries faster. We're now hearing of same-day deliveries, making your brand or product more attractive to customers, being more efficient so they can beat the competition. And this is how these successful organizations began when, they started their business a few years ago. They focused on the front end, and this has allowed them to later come up with ways to become more efficient and to make their businesses more attractive. So the bottom line here is, get your customers close to you by constantly engaging them. And by so doing, you're assured of increasing sales. The more you increase at the front end, the more you can invest on the back end. As for the systems, what you need to do is work on them gradually, and you'll get better and better. The final thing is to learn how to learn. The one certainty in business is that it's always going to be changing. If you're not always learning, and catching up with, for example, the latest trends and continuously absorbing the changes around you, then your competition will always have the better of you. The greatest source of paranoia, let me call it that, as an entrepreneur should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do and you're not learning, you don't have the thirst for knowledge and acquiring information, then that means your business remains in the dark while others are learning and prospering. And so today I've covered some key points to help you with a business that is not performing as expected. Put in the effort. Really know where the money is going. Watch your expenses and try and get rid of those expenses that are not bringing money in. Get some support and really make sure that you're giving value to your customers, your existing customers. And finally, never ever stop learning. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content and support this channel.